Welcome back to I'm Still Here. I'm Larry.
And I'm Heather. In 1998, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at the age of 26. It changed everything for us, but I'm still here.
You are.
Yeah.
Today, not a very uplifting topic.
But a necessary one.
Yes.
And actually something that somebody did just reach out to me and ask me to talk about. And I think it's very timely because this is going to follow a conversation that I just had with my friend Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to talk a little bit about progression or recurrence today. And if there's anything that is, I don't think there's anything scarier in the life of somebody living with cancer than hearing that you've had progression, which means...
Do you think it's true that it's so scary, what you just said? Because obviously the first time it was scary, but it was completely unknown.
Yeah.
And now you know.
Yeah. So you know, and yeah, you know so much more.
Exactly.
Right. So.
And I think that's what, you're obviously, you don't want cancer to take your life. I mean,
Right.
that's the
Right.
big fear, but also there's 1,000 other things. I think, if I were in your shoes, I would think that no, I just don't want to do that again.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's everything from, am I going to lose my hair to, what does this mean for my daily life to.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's putting cancer back in the front seat. If not, I would never allow cancer, I don't think, to be the driver. Mm-hmm. But it definitely takes priority again when sometimes you maybe have figured out a pretty good life, a pretty good way of living with metastatic disease. Yeah. So, and that starts oftentimes by having a test done or something. There's this, there's this thing that I've seen that's like scan, treat, repeat, and this is kind of the schedule, the schedule that people with metastatic disease live in. And we've talked a little bit about why, about scanxiety. And the reason that it's so anxiety inducing is because of the chance of hearing that the disease has progressed, right?
For sure. And it doesn't matter, and like in your case, it was a long time ago that you've been through this, and we know that there's many more drugs, forget drugs, there's many more treatments.
Yeah.
They're not all drugs even.
Yeah.
That are in play where they were not in play 20 years ago. And that's all good news, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to have to do that. You don't.
No, and it kind of goes back to that, like when Dr. Mariver told me even about Herceptin, in the late 90s, that, we're going to keep that one in our back pocket. Mm-hmm. So whenever you feel like you have to access the next line of treatment, you feel like that's one less option.
Right.
You don't know what it's going to do to your body,
Mm-hmm.
It's just so flippin' scary.
It is. And on the other hand, it was scary the first time too, but that was not the tact that you took. You very much took all that in, got a game plan, which took a while to get in place. I'm not saying this was overnight or anything, but decided these are the things that I can do. These are the things that you can do. These are the things that medicine can do. These are the things that all of that. And then you very much in that anxiety-driven, even then scan, treat, repeat, you very much flipped it on its... you didn't woe is me. You didn't... at times, but overall, you didn't kind of just cower in that, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming and I can't take. You just didn't do that. And I think I don't know this. This is just I think. I think that is the course of action. I think you have to get to that point where you are going to attack this versus being attacked. And maybe that's the coach in me coming out. Maybe that, I don't know.
Yeah. I think what it is, though, I mean, if you want to go with a coaching reference, is that, the first time it happens, okay, let's start this game, right? We're at the beginning. But the second time it happens, it's like, okay, we're a little farther in. You're not just putting together a plan, you're regrouping. And, it happens again, and your crowd's losing hope, and they're not saying it, but you can feel it, or they don't understand. Maybe these people, again, your closest people are going to stay with you through progression and stuff, but literally people are going to drop off. They're either going to think, oh, I thought that was done with, or, oh shit, she's not, this is not going to be good. And you can feel people back off. Like, I could feel people back off even in the initial stuff of like, oh, I don't know if I can, and I get that, like, stay around to watch this or whatever. But progression, it adds a whole nother level of, where do you draw that strength from, in the fourth quarter? Where do you draw that strength from?
Yeah, I would use probably a little bit different analogies, and all of mine come from football. But, it's the difference between, the support that's given to that rookie quarterback compared to Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, maybe has a similar an injury or a something, or just things aren't going good. They're 0-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And people will be like, you know what? I mean, you had a good career, but it's time to hang it up type of thing. People might have that attitude. I'm just saying Tom Brady can never have that attitude.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
He wants success.
I totally agree with that.
And let me be clear, even if Tom Brady has the right attitude, it doesn't always equal success. That's just not how things work.
Yeah.
That's not the reality.
Right.
I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, well, I just, I think we oftentimes, when we think about, again, we kind of talked about this in Monday Momentum in terms of change. Even if the treatment you're on currently is has side effects or whatever, our dogs are going crazy right now. They do not want a podcast.
They don't want this one. They don't want to talk about
they like
progression.
To keep things a little more upbeat. So even like when we talked about in the Monday Momentum that change is difficult, largely because of the unknown, at least for me, right? So when you're on a line of treatment, and even if it's not great, you know what it is, right?
Sure.
So then you're talking about, oh gosh, now we have to do something different, and how's that gonna affect me, and what's my quality of life gonna be? All of these things, and I think too,
working.
And I think the other thing is that when you're on a line of treatment, you kind of build confidence in it over time, right? So
I think some people do. Yes.
Okay.
I think you're weird.
I build confidence in it over time.
I'm not sure everybody does. Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes.
Maybe that is a little bit of a difference. I wasn't waiting for it to fail. That's never been my thing in terms of, I don't put those stats in my head of how long drugs usually work. I don't do any of that. I just leave that to the people in the labs to think about. And also I really stand strong on my belief that I am not a statistic, right? Like that it doesn't matter what statistics say, I can be on the other side of that. So, so that does that, but that plays into, this whole thing of progression, and.
So what is the feelings of a scan for you that others might have? I mean, obviously there's an anxiety. What are those? What's going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I've probably never prayed harder than I have. at the time, mostly bone scan table. That's been my biggest thing because PET scans have been relatively new for me. But the thought is really like, is this going to change my life? What if there's more cancer, and then how am I going to deal with it, and how is that going to affect all of us, and how, it's all of these things that it just, yeah, or maybe it's even just like, I just got a new job, or I just this, or
things are going so well.
Things are going so well, or we've talked a little bit too, like about scanning in terms of like I tend not to do it around like holiday time or things where I know that it's going to be on my mind, or it could upset the apple cart before something that I really want to enjoy. So I think there's a balance between that. Sometimes the anxiety of knowing that it's coming is so high that you just need to get it done and out of the way,
Probably an individual decision,
and I think honestly for me, I think it's been both over the years, right?
Okay.
But this last time that I scanned, it was like right around 4th of July and that kind of stuff, and that's a big thing for us, and I was like, nope, I don't want to know. I think I did end up finding out though right before.
I think you did.
Because I was just like, it's interesting, even in the course of that time it changes, like, and portals play into all of this too, because I never used to have like a patient portal. So, it pops up a notification on my phone, like you have a new message, and you're like, ooh, how am I gonna?
Which I'm guessing with some people maybe listening to this and maybe, maybe they're out 4 or 5 years and stuff.
Yeah.
I would guess that they would be kind of bummed to hear you say that.
What?
Well, being out 20 some, I don't even know how many years.
Yeah.
Being out that long, and wait a minute, you're still have this high anxiety over the scans?
I don't think so. I think the longevity outweighs the anxiety, and I don't have to do it nearly as often anymore.
But is your anxiety as high as it was 15 years ago?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
There's some things to living with metastatic breast cancer that are just going to be a part of this disease. I think,
sure.
So there is some anxiety that's going to come with it.
Okay.
Oh,
no, I understand
right?
that. You would, with other things, just like, I've been doing this for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years type of thing, it just becomes like teaching. And the first time I got in front of a classroom, oh my gosh. And now it's literally not even a thought of, wait a minute, they're looking at me and I've got to speak. And it's not even a thought. That's never going to happen.
Right.
With metastatic disease and scans and good news, bad news. And that's it's never going to be a 1, on a scale, 10 to 1. It's never.
No.
But is it less?
Yeah, it's less.
Okay.
And we've alluded to the fact that there's been a lot of advancement in treatment in the last 18, 20 years. 2004, I'm not good at math. So I've been on the drug that I'm on since 2004. I'm going to believe that there are some more options out there.
Sure.
Now, there is also, honestly, the thought of, oh my gosh, this disease that's been stable for so long woke up after 20 years. Holy crud.
Yeah.
That's a problem. We're a little tilted now. Our dogs are so, But that would be concerning to me, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know how I'd handle it. I know.
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think, and I think it is a lesson for other people. And the only reason I think you handle it, doesn't matter what the crisis is. I think you kind of have that holy crap moment. I think you have that which everybody would.
Yeah.
And I think you're sad, and you're going to have emotional, kind of a breakdown.
Yeah.
Which is normal again, but something in you, you have to process, and you're processing, whether that's talking to people, listening to things, reading things, praying, collecting information. You go through this processing, and some of it is just internal processing that you do.
Yeah.
And you always come out the other end like, here we go. Yeah. Okay, this is my challenge. I now have it organized in front of me, and I am going to do anything I can.
Yeah.
And set up the things around me. Maybe not attack this. I don't know what the right word for that is, but let's go forward. And I think the little bit, that's both of us, and I think that's why we help each other in tough situations. But I don't think everybody has that ability. And again, I've said this before. If we were in different seats here, I don't know if I could have that ability like you've done. I hope I could. Wow, you've been a great example of how to do that. But I don't think anybody knows. The people know who are listening to this, who have been through metastatic, treatment and are out, and they know. You have proof. You have evidence that you have the ability to face something that is just unbelievably challenging. And come out the other side of it. Now, was that, so much of this metastatic disease and living with metastatic disease is, okay, what did you do? Did it really matter? What did they do? Did it really matter? And no one has the answer to that.
Yeah.
Nobody has the answer to that. And that's why we're doing this podcast, is we're just, from the beginning saying, well, this is what you did. And you can then decide, do you want to try that or not? And you are a very special person in what your mental decisions that you make, and then going forward with that.
Yeah, I can tell you, well, I appreciate that, but I can tell you, when I think about what would I do, the first thing is I would quit my job.
Yeah.
I would quit my job. For me, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that even without the security of, even without the financial security, we would figure that out.
Oh, no doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would go after disability for sure. I would, all of that kind of stuff. It to me.
Okay, let's be clear to everybody listening.
Yeah.
That's even if you
Had
possibly
nutrition.
Could physically do the job.
Absolutely.
That's what she's saying here. We're not talking about...
Absolutely.
We're talking about being able to not have to do that job so you can focus on healing and doing everything you can do. That's what you're saying. It's not you're in a bed somewhere and can't get out of bed, therefore you can't go to work.
No.
Okay.
It would be... It to me, I would take that commitment off of my... off of my load. That would be done. There's no way. There's no way. I would take the time that I spend at work and consider this the next line of treatment, and I would make that my job. Mm-hmm. That would be my job.
And that's what you did the first time too. And for people out there, I realize not everybody can do this. We've talked about it before. I mean, you're a single parent, and you have to make your house payment. You have to make your car payment. You have to do that. Mm-hmm. We didn't make a lot of money, let me tell you, when you were on disability and the first time around, and we made it work.
We're fortunate enough that I've worked long enough hours that I can access Social Security disability, that I have the credits in that system and can do that. But
find a way.
Find a way. And I will say, I mean, this is a political thing, and I'm not great at following this, but Michigan legislature, or people in the legislature have put forth a bill to end waiting periods on both Medicare and on the 5 month.
It doesn't make sense.
5 months.
It doesn't make sense.
You can be completely bankrupt. But
be 5 months behind on every bill you have.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. So I'm so hopeful, and I would be happy to participate in moving that forward. But we shouldn't. I don't feel like we should have to be dealing with a major healthcare crisis and also be just financially
Ruined.
ruined.
Especially because we had great insurance.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So, but there's no question to me where my focus would go. I definitely would need the time that you talked about a little bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like, honestly, I can get there faster when I can get those other things off of my plate. Right.
Anybody could. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, and even, I think the other thing that I would say in all of this is that I think sometimes we just don't ask for help. And asking for help in those situations can be, like, to take things off of your plate, can be also so life-giving, if you have young kids, if you have commitments, if you have and you have some community around you, ask for help.
Family.
Family. Even your kids, in terms of, hey, I can't do it all right now, or I'm going to need your help in just, whatever it would be. It would depend on their ages. But I think when I think about progression, it just, to me, goes, okay, I'm putting my health first. I have to do this. And what does that look like? So for me, it does mean I'm going to be a little selfish in terms of how I spend my time, even where my thoughts go. I'm gonna close the ranks again. I'm gonna do all of those things, to protect myself,
And it worked. So for seriously listening, you want to know what that worked.
Yeah.
There's obviously medical treatment in there, but
for sure, tons of it.
But there was an extreme focus on healing, and yeah.
And that's the thing, is, like, healing looks different for all of us. So, like, healing for me might be walking and doing different things like that. Healing for you might be an amazing meditator, like somebody who can really. I long for. I keep thinking someday I'm going to be good at meditation, but I'm pretty good at visualization. So, like, what are the things that I am good at, or that I can do? Just I know progression is scary. It's scary to think of. It's hard to regroup from.
It's scary for you hearing a lot of other people progress.
And there's some of that too. After talking to Chris has lost a couple of really close friends to metastatic breast cancer, and it's not that I have known people who have died from metastatic breast cancer, for sure, and it's hurt my heart to see these women in the prime of their life die. But it does take something to reconcile. Okay, we have the same disease, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the same outcome, or we can have different paths. Or I don't want to say, I'm not trying to, I would never want any of that to be perceived as disrespectful. But also, I guess with that, it goes to, cancer is really a million different diseases, right?
Yeah. So
just because we're under the same umbrella does not necessarily mean that the outcome is the same. But you're right. The emotional toll of watching other people die of it is, it's
scary.
Scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. So this is, I think there's also, I think it's important that we talk about these things, but I think it's also maybe timely that this podcast is going to be happening in October. Because, again, I was on my soapbox a few weeks ago, but this is the reality of breast cancer. It is not pink breast, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We didn't once talk about, I guess I did from a vanity standpoint, losing my hair. That has been a thought. But other than that, there is absolutely nothing when I think about progression that is about vanity. It is about being on this earth as long as I can be. It's about living as many years as healthily as I can. It's about making the most memories I can make. It's not about pink.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So.
Yeah, and luckily you are still.
I'm still here.
You are.
Thanks for listening today.
Yeah. Hit it, Ty.